Hey everyone, and welcome to another stream right here, guys. My name's Nino. I'm product manager at Xiaomi International, and today I'm joined by
Jason from Xiaomi UK.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us, Jason.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
We're here. We've got two special products to actually both unbox and also show off a little bit. And these are a little bit different than what we usually do, right? So normally, you know, we're always showing off a lot of kind of smartphones, a lot of wearables, but these ones are particularly for our special friends. And
I must say, yeah, well, as I say, like my special friend's gonna love things like this. I mean, yeah, looks so good.
So this is why we brought Jason along. Myself, I love animals, to be fair, love dogs, love cats, all sorts. But I don't personally have any pets. But Jason himself does have a special friend.
I do. I have a Yorkshire Terrier poodle called Rolo. He's a little lover. I love him. He's so cute. Blessed little.
And also, Rolo, if you're watching, shout out to you as well.
Big man.
But what we're going to be doing today is taking a look at both the Smart Pet Food Feeder and also the Smart Pet Fountain. Unboxing them, you get to see firsthand. This is actually both our first time unboxing these products live on camera as well. And then that way you guys can actually see and experience it along with us. We'll go through some of the cool features and actually outline how these will actually link into the Xiaomi smart home interface on there too, which is always a big plus with any of our AIoT products. So let's start. We're going to start right now, Jason, with the Xiaomi Smart Pet Food Feeder. So I want to get you to unbox the package right here. So
I always like starting with the big box, to be fair. All right, so let's have a go. Okay.
So we've got a few bits in here as well to go through.
Okay, let's have a go. Oh, and something on the side. Oh, that's the power supply.
The power adapter.
So I'll leave that there.
Again, we'll leave that because, of course, we're not powering these on, but we're going to be going through, of course, feel free to highlight and have a little look to see how they kind of work in a bit more detail online as well, but it's more so kind of going through, checking them out firsthand as well. So whilst you get that bit out, I'll also open this up, help you out a little bit, just to save a little bit of time.
Yeah,
so
let's get that off.
This looks like the food tray, the base just here.
Let's put you down there. And this, oh my. Where are we? Up the top.
Of course, as you'd expect, relatively easy in terms of the old unboxing experience here.
Nice, simple. Yeah, I like it. Makes it a lot easier.
There we go.
So,
all we do is
it's upright. I expected to be laying flat from the box, but.
And then that just connects right there.
Okay.
So a nice, beautiful, neat package here.
Nino, tell me, how is little Rolo going to benefit from this? I mean, what's so amazing?
Well, I guess this is the first thing. Before we go into kind of, I guess, how this is going to benefit Rolo, I guess from your point of view, Jason, you mean, you know, kind of when you're feeding Rolo, how does that normally go on a day-to-day basis yourself?
So little Rolo gets fed twice a day, morning and night.
Yep.
Has a set amount of food every day, a mix of wet and dry food.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes little snacks throughout the day because he's been a good boy, you know, he gets little treats here and there. Yeah.
And I guess on like the regular feeding, is that specifically kind of time feeding? So do you have like specific times when you go into it?
Yeah, so around 7, 8 o'clock for morning, and then whenever I have dinner at night, really. Yeah. So probably about 7 o'clock as well. So once every 12 hours, I'd say, actually. Now I think about it.
Nice. And I mean, from your point of view, do you ever find, obviously, like with the portion of food, like obviously, do you portion it out? Do you sometimes find yourself maybe doing a bit more, a bit less, or is it quite specific?
No, it's specific portions. So from my experience working with dogs, you need to have specific weights and specific grams per dog size.
Yep.
So Rolo gets, per day he gets 140 grams of dry food and a sliver of wet food to go alongside that as well to give him a nice even diet. Yep. Plus if he has dry food, he just won't touch it. He needs his wet food. He needs his wet food.
I guess the key benefit then with respects to the Smart Pet Feeder, of course, this enters kind of into, of course, our smart ecosystem, as you would expect, but it actually gives you, Jason, 24 hours of feeding time available, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you can actually have it where it's a scheduled time. So for example, like you mentioned, for Rolo himself, you can have 2 specifically scheduled times when you can obviously kind of dispense the food, and that'll dispense it automatically as long as you actually set that up within the Xiaomi Smart app. But also it gives you the benefit, for example, if you wanted to, when you're out and about and you wanted to kind of, I don't know, add in some extra food for whatever reason, you have the ability to actually remote kind of drop some food from wherever you are in the world.
Oh, right, so I could be here in the office and I then, from here, bang at home, straight in. That's pretty curly actually, because I can be gone sometimes for 10, 12 hours a day. So it makes their life a little bit easier, making sure he's getting those little treats when he needs it as well. I like that.
I think that's a key thing. And obviously some other things to kind of point out before we move into some of the more tech items. I mean, from initial impressions from yourself, what's the build quality like on there too?
It feels solid. It feels very good. I think the first thing that I'm drawn to is the tray here, which is removable, which I think is a big plus as well. Feels the metal, feels aluminium, I want to say. Looks like it's nice and easy to clean as well. And I think that's a big thing with dogs, really. Yeah, dogs get messy. So having something nice and easy to clean should be simple. And like the tray here, easy, pick up a ball, one big unit, it's lovely. This, however, one piece. It feels a little heavier, but you know, for what I find, a bit of weight always feels quite nice. And just looking in here, a nice simple dispenser, I like it. I think it looks very nice, very clean as well. It kind of goes with my aesthetic at home where everything's kind of simple.
What about in terms of kind of filling it up? How do you find that yourself?
Let's have a look. See, I'm assuming it's the button right here.
Yeah, so you've got the compartment just
without
there.
dropping it. See, simple. And okay, so you've got a little spinner here as well, so it keeps it dispensing through as well. I like that.
So that was the key point I was going to add on to that, right? So two key points on what you just mentioned there. First one, like you say, simple design, sturdy design on there too. But actually one of the key other benefits as to why the kind of main housing is quite heavy is to make sure that, you know, it can't necessarily get knocked over too easily, right? So, you know, this is kind of intended for smaller to medium-sized dogs. Of course, some of those potentially will have, you know, a bit more animation, let's say, when they're kind of getting their food on there. So, you know, they may be a bit more like really kind of
I'm just
excited for the food.
I'm picturing puppies here. I'm just picturing like 10 puppies just ramming at it, to be fair. But the weight, that'll keep it nice and steady, to be fair.
So that's one of the key things, so keeping that steady on there. Then obviously we opened it up inside with the suspension. Of course, on here, one of the big benefits, along with the suspension itself, is also, like Jason mentioned, the blade in there, which actually stirs up the food to kind of, I guess, keep it fresh whilst it's dispensing on there too. So you have a nice, let's say, ability to both keep it fresh, but also dispense it at the same time. And it does it in quite an efficient way to get how much food you need at a specific moment in time on there as well.
And I think that's one thing that people really overlook with things like this. It's like not only dispensing, but dispensing the correct way, correct amount as well, because it's so key to a healthy animal's diet. You know, if you overfeed them, they're going to become big boys. If you don't feed them enough, you know, it's getting that balance right and having a machine that will do that smart and remotely as well. No, that sounds perfect.
That's always the big plus. And obviously, with respect to the kind of kibble size, obviously we know that there's a variety of different sizes that, for example, you can have of specific kibble. Again, with the Smart Pet food feeder itself, it can actually take from 5mm kibble all the way up to 12mm.
That's big kibble though. That's big kibble.
So even for the slightly larger size on there, you have obviously the ability where you can fill it up and obviously dispense that as you go as well. Some other kind of cool benefits, which I'm going to probably mention for a couple, or both of these devices itself, is of course the functionality with the Xiaomi Smart Home app.
Okay.
So of course both of these will be able to be added onto there, and obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you can actually check the capacity of what's in there.
Oh wow, okay.
And also, like I mentioned, manually dispense the food when you need to as well.
See, I think the telling you what the level it's at is really important, because I'm forgetful. Like, I forget to do everything. So having a reminder there on my phone to say, by the way, top me up, I think that's going to be really handy. That's so cool. That's really cool.
And that links in. And I think another thing that I want to mention for kind of both of these, and I'll highlight it again when we unbox the Smart Pet Fountain, is of course, you know, within the ecosystem itself, you can actually, you know, kind of almost link these devices in together, i.e. both of these, and which we'll explain a little bit later on. But in addition, you can also add in other things such as our 360-degree smart cameras, smart security cameras. So you could have one, you know, facing this kind of area, and then, for example, obviously monitoring the food station and also the fountain at the same time. So you can have that kind of link.
See, I'm already thinking about how I can put this into my home setup, because I've got a 360 camera in the office, one in the living room, one in the bedroom, to keep an eye on Rhoda, but having one near the food, I mean, it enhances not only your security for your dog, but just that comfort level, all remotely, all in a nice smart bubble. I love that. And
I think this is one of the other things, right? Of course, we mentioned around all of the smart features and of course the interconnected features, but, you know, picture this. You're on holiday, for example, you know, in some cases not everyone can bring, maybe you're going for a short trip away, not everyone can bring, of course, their pets with them. And obviously you have this set up where it will actually go off at a specific time.
Yeah.
But what happens if, for example, your internet goes or you don't have the ability to have it connected?
That's true.
Right? Because that will then potentially mess up a specific feeding time. What we've implemented within the Smart Pet Feeder is the ability to still dispense food without needing to be connected to the internet.
So it's got storage in there to... that's pretty cool.
So it has that feature on there where it will actually save the specific kind of, I guess, settings that you've already put on there.
Okay.
So even if it's disconnected, we'll actually remember that within the internal system itself.
So if there is an emergency, power's gone, God forbid, it's still going to keep going.
Yeah.
That's really
so
good.
you have that.
Something I wouldn't even thought of that. I would never have thought of that. That's actually amazing.
So I guess from yourself, Jason, how could you kind of see this kind of being implemented in your home?
So for me, I could probably see it as being a bit more of a regularity thing. Because as I say, I'm always out and about at work. At least I know when I can get him at regular times, he's going to be regularly fed at specific times, which I think is key. Dogs love routine. Going into that routine is perfect for that as well. Plus, I don't need to dish it out every day. The phone can remind me. I can just top it up as and when I need to. And then if he's feeling a little bit of treat, just chuck some cheese in if I'm about, you know, I can add to it if I so wanted to as well. But his main kibble, easy enough as well.
Easy enough.
Keeps him regular, and I don't have to worry about it too much.
100%. I think one of the other key things for me, just to kind of highlight some kind of, I guess, final points on there. Obviously, you mentioned about cleanliness, about how easy it is to clean, of course. Big plus with the removable parts. In addition, we will also have a 360-degree silicone sealing ring at the top. So that means that, for example, even with the kibble in there, you won't have, well, it's not attached on there at the moment, but it's separate in the box. That means, again, the actual smell itself won't necessarily, be kind of dispersed out of the Smart Pet Feeder on there too. So it just kind of helps to kind of make it a more unique, all-in-one kind of package on there.
That would be.
There you go. That's the one just there. So we have that benefit.
Smells great.
And one of the other ones is actually the door itself. So the revealing door is actually hidden. So, for example, if you have some pets that are a bit more curious, they want to be exploring a bit more, even if they see the food coming out, afterwards it will actually close up and be hidden so they can't actually access that on there as well.
I've known some dogs in my time that do get very curious, and I can see it now, some of the smarter ones just trying it at least. But that's pretty cool. Hides it away and no need to worry.
And I guess from your point of view, Jason, obviously your dog's relatively small, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking...
Yeah?
Yeah, nothing.
And you said 140 grams per day, or was that
140 grams per meal.
Per meal. Okay.
Per meal.
So 280 per day, roughly.
Yeah, about that.
So actually, believe it or not, capacity on this one can take up to 1.8 kilos of dry kibble, which equivalates to around about 20 days of feeding, depending on obviously how much.
I mean, for Rolo, that would probably be still a week's worth of food. And as you say, bigger dogs will require more kibble, but for up to 20 days, yeah, that's pretty damn good, to be fair. I like that.
And then obviously, like we mentioned in the app, you can actually monitor how much of a level is on there, and obviously when you need to actually fill that up on there itself. So that was the Smart Pet Feeder. Again, what we're now going to do is actually move on to the Smart Pet Fountain. Ooh. So I'll hand that over to yourself, Jason, to do a little bit of an unboxing on there too.
I do like a small box. It's still there, so a bit easier to get out. I mean, I'm a small guy, so it's hard to pick up.
Likewise.
So this is quite nice, actually. It's a bit more compact. Let's get that plastic off of there. Chuck that down. Thank you. Books as well. There's a bit more plastic here.
Yeah, so again, for both of these, I think, which is quite important, especially when it comes to kind of, I guess, pet gadgets, at least from my past experience, is number one, easy to set up. Number two is also easy to maintain, which we mentioned already. And again, this one obviously ticks those boxes on there as well. So what Jason's kind of unboxing here is also some certain elements of filtration. So what you also have on here is 4 different layers of filtration for the water, which of course in this case is especially as important because...
I'd probably say it's the most important thing, really. I mean, if you're going to keep water in here for a long time, stagnant water it can kill a dog. Yeah. So having a filtration system in there to get rid of all those bacteria and all the bad stuff, that's key. That's so important. And having that, how many layers of filtration? Was it 4?
4 layers of filtration.
To me, that's the big thing right there. It's that filtration. It's keeping the water that's in there clean. That's so important.
Because I think the key kind of part of this, I'll just chuck this down here, I'm not going to power it on right now, but the key focus around this at the moment, so it should just slot in just there.
There you go.
Perfect. is, of course, just like the smart pet feeder, this is kind of quoting, again, that 24-hour lifestyle for kind of pet use. So both for 24-hour kind of food feeding, this is also 24-hour healthy water dispensing. Right, so it's exactly like you say, making sure that not only can you get that supply of water constantly, but also making sure it's clean and I guess, you know, healthy for obviously either, in this case, dog, cat, or whatever other animal you want to be using on there as well.
I do have a question. So with a filtration system, generally from the filters I've ever known, there's a bit of noise. How loud is it? Is it quite loud? Is it quiet? I mean, like, because I imagine this running in the middle of the night with a nice hum would drive me mad.
No, so that's a very good point, because again, one key thing that we've done, as you can imagine, for anything that's kind of circulating all the time, is we actually have something called a mute system on here too. So for example, when it is that kind of more, let's say, quiet time, when you want to have it a bit more quieter, there is a system on there where it'll actually allow for a quieter water flow for better sleeping conditions too. And that's for obviously both us and also our pets on there as well.
I love that, I love that.
But what about Rolo, obviously, in terms of water? Does he drink a lot of water himself? Is it kind of regular?
Too much water. I think if he had a chance, he'd dive into a pond and drink it dry.
Yeah,
It's little chunky monkey. But I think this, I mean, looking at that container right there, I mean, that's a lot of water there. That will keep him going for a long, long time as well. And something that I wanted to mention as well, it seems so easy to like clean, and it's just 3 simple parts. Easy to clean, easy to make happen. I like that. I like that.
And I think that's kind of the key point with a lot of, like we say, not just a lot of our products, especially when it comes to our kitchen products, whatever it may be, but especially when it comes to more pet products. I think the cleanliness itself is one of those key areas. And obviously you mentioned about the water volume on there. So that is actually a 2-litre water capacity that you can actually get on that as well.
Crikey, that's a lot of water. That is a lot of water.
Plenty of water on there. And I think similar to what we mentioned earlier, obviously you have the monitoring factor. So obviously this will connect to the Xiaomi Smart Home application. So you can see both water levels, dispensing on there too, and obviously you can actually monitor that as and when, not just in the home, but even when you're out and about on there as well. So you have that big benefit of being able to monitor that when you need to on there.
And do you know what? I think it's such an underrated thing as well, having the ability to monitor it directly from your phone as well. Like, as I say, I'm forgetful. Having something to remind me directly there and to be able to control it from my phone and knowing what I need to do, that's game changer. Game changer. Love that.
And in addition to that, obviously, if you needed to, you also have the ability to actually stop the water flow remotely from your phone. So if there's anything, for example, that you're not too sure about, let me just quickly stop the water supply, check what's going on, and then restart it once again on there as well. And that's also including kind of scheduling times on there as well.
Am I right as well? That looked like that lights up.
It does, yeah. So that, again, is more of an indicator light. So that will obviously indicate in terms of the monitoring, so both in terms of the filter on there, if it's kind of needing to be cleaned, for example, things like this, that will actually show you an indicator on both the front of the unit itself and then also on the application itself.
That's pretty cool. So you've got 2 levels of visualization. I love that. I love that. I've got to say, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, Nino, so far. These are,
and
so good.
One other key point I wanted to mention on this, just before I get your opinion on kind of the overall, I guess, build quality on there as well. So we mentioned about the shut off. One key thing that I'm sure potentially many of you are wondering is, okay, what about, you know, if something happens, the pet, you know, accidentally lifts, or this actually comes up, well, this actually has an automatic shut off point when you actually lift up the basket itself or the container. So again, kind of more of those safety features built in, that kind of more smarter element to that itself. So I guess from your point of view, Jason, build quality on this, how do you find it?
Solid, absolutely solid. Love how it feels. Really simple to take apart as well. As I say, 3 pieces, nice and easy. I mean, this filter change. I've never known a filter change quite, my fat fingers will get in there. Oh, I've stuck it right in. Quite that easy. There we go. But like normally you have to go through multiple compartments, but you know, it's stuck in there, it's solid. And if I want to get access to it, I can easily get access to it, which normally with my air purifier and stuff, I've got to do one clip, pull another bit off, put another piece out. Just nice, easy. And at least, you know, if it does get knocked over, it's going to be solid.
I think, there you go, other way around. And I think one of the other things potentially that may concern, they may have seen it on there as well. So actually from the water system and also the kind of power the electronics. Of course, as we know, water and electronics don't always mix too well. That's why the design itself is actually made in a way where they are actually separate from each other. So you have that kind of worry-free cleaning experience that you can actually get from the Smart Pet Fountain on there too. So how do you see this kind of implemented in your home as well, Jason?
Again, simplicity and routine for Rolo.
Yep.
I mean, if instead of having to wait for me to get off of my backside and do what I'm doing, and, you know, I can just have that sitting there ready to go and control it. I think that's just, again, giving a dog a bit more routine and a bit more freedom as well for the dog. Like if he wants a drink, he doesn't have to wait for me to go fill his water bottle up and refresh it. It's there, ready to go for him as well. I like this. Both of these are just, can I steal them? Can I steal them, please?
Well, in this case, for me, you're going to have a lot of people, especially, that are going to be wanting them as well. But I think, you know, like we mentioned, it's that kind of worry-free experience. You know, if you need to be going away, for example, not everyone can take their pets with them, is having that ability to actually have elements of these at home where it's both automatic, it's a level of monitoring, but also safe in a certain way as well that you can actually have on there. Like we mentioned on this one, 2 litre capacity, which again, in this particular case, we've got numbers for a grown cat. You're looking at about 4 to 7 days worth of water dispensing, clean water dispensing within the Smart Pet Fountain.
No, 100%. It's just, it looks good, it feels good, it talks good. It seems like it would do everything I'd want it to do in a smart home. Just seems perfect.
And again, it's just that kind of adding into that Xiaomi Smart Home, which, as you know, is ever growing, and we add more and more products into this ecosystem every time, with the ability of having them kind of all working and interconnecting to each other when you need them on there. But with that being said, we appreciate you all watching the stream here today. Again, look out for these products that you will find on me.com as well, and in a few other places. And of course, as always, we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
Take care, bye.